C.Y. Tung owns more than 80 ships and bought himself the largest liner ever built, the Queen Elizabeth. He's more sentimental about his ships than Mr. Powell, so I persuaded him to join me on a visit to his latest project, a cruise ship and C.Y.'s university.
It looks to me as though you've got much more than 2 months' work to do on her.
Yes, but I think with this labor force now, it's all right, because main job is in her engine room, the boiler room. I think her side is concerned, it's not a problem.
What about the ship's furnishings and that sort of thing?
Well, mostly furniture still in order, but we are going to add on many new carpets with peacock. We are going to have a peacock lounge, and we are going to have a lunar bar.
And you're going to have it this color?
Yeah, this is a beautiful color, yes.
It's impossible to believe.
Yeah.
The aging Queen's getting a sort of facelift from 1,200 workmen and 35 tons of paint on her weather-worn flanks. CY's reactivated 6 of her 12 boilers, and he's recruiting a crew of 900. Yet when we went aboard, she was not, let's face it, quite as shipshape and Bristol fashion as once upon a time. The Kiwi was bought at the knockdown price of £1,300,000 by Mr. Tung when her first purchasers, who'd paid 3 times that, went broke. Then sailing here, her boilers blew up, so what with one thing and another, she's cost him a packet.
$12 million. Already reached $12 million. With $3 million to bring her here from Colorado, Aruba, and boiler machinery. And we spent another $6 million. That's all, as I said, beyond our original budget, but not beyond my original expectation.
When you say you could foresee all the plans, could you foresee 1,000 tons of rubbish, for example?
Yeah, that's of course many items we do not anticipate, so I must correct. But many detail work, of course, it's rather difficult to foresee that, as you say.
But it really doesn't look to me as though she's going to be ready to sail on time.
Basically, I think she can leave in January, and because our dry dock reserved in Yokosuka, U.S. Navy base in Japan, have to be punctuated, otherwise we will have problems. So
yes.
I think ship got to be there by early February and complete by end of February.
I was being told that you'd had some sort of labor problems here. You've had strikes in even.
Well, very for a short period, about 3-5 days, and for something which really beyond our control, because they want to play poker or Chinese dice, then people reported to police department they are gambling, and 1 or 2 men arrested. Then they say, we did it. And we never say a word to police department, but they say we did it. So as a result, they strike for a few days. So that's only a matter of, like a storm from a teacup. So,
We normally in England, we have most strikes you can think of, but I don't think anyone's ever been on strike for gambling yet.
From our side of the world, Chinese workers may seem docile enough, but theirs is a communist-led union, so all the 1,200 workmen insisted on going miles back to shore for their lunch, which meant they spent 5 hours each day just sailing to and from work.
Their working time only 3 hours a day, so that's a big problem. And we even offer some Cantonese opera to attract them to stay on board, but since this is their tradition, they want to go back to shore for lunch. So apparently that doesn't work. So.
But you offered them the Cantonese opera to keep them here during the lunch hour.
Yeah, that's it. And I did personally give a little talk to all these workmen. I say to work on board that ship is not only to make the ship, navigable and to add beauty to the ship, but also you are doing a certain meaningful purpose for education, as the eventual ship will be used as a university. So I think all workmen should work hard.
To own the Queen Elizabeth was a dream of your father's, but old men's dreams are not always economic.
We feel that in our market research that there is a tremendous requirement and tremendous interest in the passenger cruising. And we feel that we can make a go of it if we have a proper administration, we have the dedication, and we have because of our cheaper labor cost.
Of course, there's a shipping recession at the moment. There's more than 3 million tons idle. There's something like 310 ships. Is this a good time to take over 83,000 rusty tons of Queen Elizabeth?
Queen Elizabeth or the Seawise University is by no means a rusty old ship. She is a beautiful ship. There is some rundown in the condition of the ship because of negligence by a previous owner. But these are problems that we can easily overcome.
In some ways, the whole thing seems like a mad fantasy. There is something he's always wanted to have, now he's got it. Yes. But when you see it, it's like you've got to float the Waldorf Astoria, haven't you? You know, yes. and you've got your skipper is from a tanker, yes. Your crew is from goodness knows where. Your stewards are being trained in a Hong Kong hotel. Yes. You've got a chef from a Hong Kong hotel. Yes. It doesn't really sound very professionally nautical. This tragic queen was already fully booked for her very first cruise, a 12-day voyage out of Yokohama in mid-March with 1,500 members of a Japanese society as passengers. And, wretched irony, it was the Stop Smoking Society. The sea is cruel and unforgiving, as all waterfolk know. There are no second chances. Not even for a queen. So two seaborne ways of life end. The rich way of the giant transatlantic liner, the poor, picturesque way of the boat people. Today it's all ashore, or going ashore.